It was a quiet Saturday on my ranch when a deafening roar split the air. The sound grew louder, strained, then crash. The impact shook my workshop, knocking tools from the shelves. I ran outside to find a massive C-130 Hercules sprawled across my back pasture, smoke billowing from one engine. Military personnel rushed to secure the area. "Sir, please stay back," an officer ordered. "This is now a restricted zone." I barely nodded before hearing that familiar grating voice. "Tom Harland, what have you done now?" Karen Whitaker, our HOA president, stormed up the driveway with 2 board members behind her. "This is absolutely unacceptable," she snapped. "You're destroying our neighborhood." "Karen, a plane just crashed," I said. "How is this my fault?" She was already dialing her phone. "This is a violation of HOA rules about aircraft on residential property." A military officer stepped in. "Ma'am, this is a military emergency," she waved him off. "I don't care. This man is a menace." 15 minutes later, Deputy Mike Torres arrived. "Karen, this is clearly a military matter," he said. "This is still HOA jurisdiction," she shot back. "I demand accountability." "Ma'am," the officer said sternly, "this is a federal matter. You need to leave." Karen glared at me. "This isn't over, Harland." That night, my phone buzzed nonstop. Karen had emailed the entire neighborhood calling me reckless and dangerous. She scheduled an emergency HOA meeting to discuss disciplinary actions. By morning, neighbors avoided me at the coffee shop. Karen's poison was working fast. I called Mike. "She's calling the mayor now," he said. But the military confirmed it was mechanical failure. "You didn't cause this." Still, I knew Karen was planning something bigger. She'd been eyeing my property for years. That afternoon, I saw tire tracks by the crash site that didn't match military vehicles. Strange. That evening, Karen showed up at my gate with papers on HOA letterhead. "You've created a public nuisance," she said smugly. $5,000 fine. "You can't fine me for a military accident," I said. "Section 23 states property owners are responsible for activities on their land," she recited. "And this is just the beginning. You'll regret this." I met her stare. "You're overreaching, Karen," she laughed sharply. "You'll be forced to sell. Be careful about that crash site. We wouldn't want more accidents." The next morning, Major Leia Harrison from the Air Force knocked on my door. "We'll be investigating the crash," she said. I offered her coffee. "Major, have there been unauthorized visitors?" "Actually, yes," she replied. "Someone tried to bring in a civilian cleanup crew last night, claiming owner permission." My gut twisted. That was Karen Whitaker. Harrison's face hardened. Interfering with a military crash site is a federal crime. Later, my neighbor, Rusty, an ex-Air Force pilot, dropped by. "If Karen's messing with that site, she's playing with fire," he warned. "And I've heard she's cozy with a development company, Pinnacle Development." That night, I watched the sunset over the wreckage. Karen thought she could scare me into selling, but she'd chosen the wrong man to bully. The next morning, Major Harrison showed me photos of tampered debris. "Someone tried moving parts before we arrived," she said. "Karen again," I said. "She knew details she shouldn't." "Then she's facing serious federal charges," Harrison replied. Moments later, I got a call from my shop. "There's a city inspector here with Karen," Sandra said. I rushed over. Karen stood there in a designer suit, smirking. "Mr. Davidson, this man is operating an illegal airfield," she said. "It crashed there," I said. "I didn't invite it." Karen smiled sweetly. "Nevertheless, rules are rules." I called Major Harrison, who promised to contact City Hall. When the inspector left, Karen's smile vanished. "You think your military friends can protect you forever?" That afternoon, a certified letter arrived, Karen's lawyer demanding $75,000 for emotional distress. Then Rusty came running. "Tom, I found something." He spread documents across my desk. "Karen's been paid consulting fees by Pinnacle Development, developers who partner with the same military contractor that maintains C-130s. She knew something, I realized. Rusty nodded. She had cleanup crews ready within hours. That evening, Karen held an emergency HOA meeting. "The Harland incident has endangered our community," she said dramatically. "I propose forcing the sale of his property for safety and legal costs." You're lying, I said, standing. You had cleanup crews ready before the military arrived. And Pinnacle's been paying you. The room fell silent. What payments? A board member asked. Karen's face tightened. Those are legitimate consulting fees. Really? Because they match Pinnacle's deposits exactly, the room erupted. People shouted, demanding answers. The vote was delayed pending financial review. As we left, Karen hissed, "You've won nothing! I'll bury you." The next morning, my business took a hit. Contracts canceled, calls ignored. Karen was strangling me financially. But I wasn't giving up, Major Harrison called. The debris was selectively searched. Someone knew what to look for. That night, I saw Karen near the crash site with 2 men. I recorded them. "Ensure your report shows contamination," she said. The next day, I showed the video to Harrison and Mike. "Fraud and conspiracy," Mike muttered. "Federal charges," Harrison confirmed. But Karen struck back, suing me for defamation, demanding $200,000 and offering to drop it if I sold to Pinnacle. Pure extortion. That night, I stood by my window watching military floodlights over the field. Karen thought she could destroy me, but she'd made a fatal mistake. Crossing the military. By dawn, my kitchen had become a war room. Rusty, Mike, and Major Harrison sat with me, stacks of evidence spread across the table, bank records, emails, and the contamination video. "We know Karen's taking money from Pinnacle," I said. "She tampered with the crash site and planned fake reports. But how do we stop her before she ruins my business?" Major Harrison tapped her folder. "The contractor maintaining that plane is under investigation. 3 C-130 failures in 18 months. If Karen knew about maintenance problems through Pinnacle, she's complicit in endangering personnel." Mike let out a low whistle. "That's not HOA trouble anymore. That's federal prison," Rusty added. "She's poisoning the community. We need public opinion on our side first." My phone buzzed. More cancellations. "She's winning the PR war," I muttered. "We hit her with proof," Harrison said. "Let's expose her at the financial review meeting." That afternoon, the HOA meeting was standing room only. Robert Hayes, the accountant, chaired it instead of Karen. "We'll begin with the financial review," Karen tried to divert. "First, we should address the Harlan property. Financial review first," Robert interrupted. He flipped through ledgers, frowning. "Karen, these consulting fees, $15,000 over 6 months, paid to you personally. No board approval? They were for community development work," she stammered. I stood. "Pinnacle Development has been paying her through those same accounts." "She's been selling us out," gasps filled the room. "I played the recording from the crash site." Karen's voice. "Ensure your report shows contamination," rang clear. "You plan to fake contamination to steal my land," I said. Chaos erupted. Board members demanded answers. "You don't understand," Karen snapped. This neighborhood was stagnating. "I was bringing progress through bribery and fraud," Robert said coldly. "I call for a vote of no confidence and a forensic audit." The motion passed. Karen fled the room, phone pressed to her ear. The next morning, Major Harrison called with breaking news. "Pinnacle's under investigation. They maintained the crashed plane, ignored safety violations, and planned to buy your property. Karen appears in their communications. She was promised $500,000 for delivering your land." "She knew about the maintenance problems?" "Most likely," Harrison said grimly. "She may have triggered this entire chain." That afternoon, Karen made her move. She arrived at my shop with 2 slick lawyers. "Our client will drop all charges and pay $50,000, one said, "if you agree not to pursue claims and sell." I looked at Karen. "Your client just attempted bribery." "The feds will love that." They left fast, Karen seething. "You've ruined everything," she spat. That evening, as the sun dipped over the wreckage, I shared beers with Harrison, Rusty, and Mike. The plane wasn't a curse. It was the thing that had exposed her corruption. The next morning, I woke to find my shop vandalized. "Liar" and "fraud" spray-painted across the windows. Security footage showed teens, kids of Karen's supporters. She was still pulling strings, so I called a press conference. Reporters gathered in front of my shop as I stood beside Harrison and Mike. Harrison presented the facts: federal interference, Pinnacle's bribery, and Karen's conspiracy. I told the crowd, for years our HOA president ruled through fear and greed. That ends today. The story went viral. Neighbors shared their own Karen horror stories. The audit revealed massive embezzlement. That night, Karen called from an unknown number. "Tom, please." "I'll resign, leave town. Just stop the investigation." I paused, thinking of everyone she'd hurt. "You made your choices," I said. "Now face them." The next morning, federal agents arrested Karen. The neighborhood gathered as she was led away in handcuffs. Some cheered, others just stared. The queen had fallen. For a moment, peace returned, until new attacks began. My business's reviews tanked overnight. Dangerous owner, corrupt. Karen's PR firm was smearing me. Local news aired her side, showing her crying, calling herself a victim. By noon, contracts vanished. Sandra, my manager, looked heartbroken. "Tom, people are scared." Then Major Harrison called. "She's filed complaints with my superiors claiming bias. She's contacting Congress now." "She's trying to flip the story," I said. "Exactly. But she's losing ground fast." Days later, Karen appeared at the federal building, recording herself accusing the Air Force of corruption. She called herself a whistleblower. 2 days after that, she showed up at my property while Harrison was there. Her hair was messy, her suit wrinkled. "You!" she shouted, pointing at Harrison. "You're part of the conspiracy." "Ma'am," Harrison said calmly, "you're interfering with a federal investigation." Karen started live streaming. "This is Karen Whitaker, HOA president, being intimidated by military personnel." Mike arrived, sighing. "Karen, please, don't touch me." "I'll own this town," she screamed, stumbling as Mike handcuffed her. The next day's headline read, "HOA president detained for threatening military officer." But even from jail, Karen fought back. Her lawyer, Richard Graves, painted her as a political prisoner. Edited videos showed her calm while we looked aggressive. Then city inspectors showed up at my shop again, citing me for minor issues: cracked tile, dim bulb, obvious harassment. That night, exhausted, I paced the dark shop. Threat calls poured in. One said, "Walk away while you still can." I slammed my fist on the workbench. "Enough." I called Harrison. "I'm done reacting. It's time to fight back." The next day, Rusty arrived, pale. "Tom, it's worse." Karen's been feeding Pinnacle information about military flights, dates, paths, even personnel visits. Whether she knew it or not, she's been gathering intelligence. "Espionage," I said quietly. Harrison confirmed it within hours. "We're escalating to the FBI. Karen's now under investigation for potential espionage." Even then, her influence lingered. My business was dying. Mike was being pressured to resign, and unmarked vans were watching my property. "She's got friends on the council," Mike said grimly. "I might lose my badge." I looked around the empty shop. "Then we take it to court." The federal courthouse was packed for her hearing. Karen entered in an orange jumpsuit, still defiant. The prosecutor, Patricia Mitchell, read the charges: fraud, bribery, interference, and possible espionage. Karen's lawyer smirked. "Your Honor, my client is the victim of a frame-up orchestrated by Mr. Harland and his military allies." He played a video, grainy footage of someone who looked like me tampering with debris. My stomach dropped. "That's fake," I whispered. Mitchell demanded verification. The judge allowed it, pending analysis, but reporters were already typing headlines. Outside, Mitchell told me, "It's a deep fake, but someone powerful is backing her." The next day, Karen testified, calm, tearful, manipulative. "All I ever did was protect my community," she said. She was good. Too good. Then Mike called. Karen's lawyer filed a complaint claiming I've been biased for years. The sheriff's taking me off the case. Soon, even Harrison was asking if there was any chance I'd been near the site that night. "The footage from your shop's cameras is corrupted," she said. I wanted to scream. "You think I'd risk everything?" "They're framing me!" Days later, Karen's team produced fake financial records, payments suggesting I'd been bribed. The narrative was turning against me fast. Late that night, alone in my kitchen, I stared at bills and death threats. Maybe I should just sell and disappear. Then my phone buzzed. "Give up now and we'll make it easy." I deleted it. "No," I whispered. "Not this time." The next morning, Mitchell called. "A witness just came forward. Says they saw you at the crash site moving debris. That's impossible." "They're credible, Tom. I need the truth." "I'm being set up," I said. "You can't see that." She sighed. "We need proof." Later that day, Harrison arranged a meeting. "We traced payments to offshore accounts," she said. "Someone powerful wants your land. We need you to go undercover, wear a wire, and meet Pinnacle's people. Get them to admit it." It was dangerous, but I agreed. That night, I wrote a letter to Sarah's sister in case I didn't come back. Outside, surveillance vans sat under the trees. Tomorrow would decide everything. The next day, I met Pinnacle's representatives at a private hangar outside town. Tiny recorders hid under my shirt collar. 2 men in tailored suits waited beside a sleek black SUV. "Mr. Harland," one said, smiling thinly. "Glad you're willing to be reasonable. Pinnacle can make your problems disappear." "Depends on what you're offering," I replied, trying to sound tired and beaten. "We'll clear your debts, settle all lawsuits, and pay you $200,000 if you sign over the land." I hesitated. "Seems generous for a ranch that suddenly became a hazard." He shrugged. "Let's just say it's strategically valuable." "Valuable enough to fake contamination? Or to bribe an HOA president?" I asked. Their smiles vanished. "Be careful what you say, Mr. Harland." Before they could react, black SUVs surrounded the hangar. Federal agents poured out. "FBI, hands up!" The suits were arrested on the spot. My recorder had captured everything. 2 days later, the courtroom was packed again. Karen's lawyer looked rattled but still tried to play his hand. "Your Honor, we have new video evidence proving Mr. Harlan met with criminals at the crash site." Patricia Mitchell stood calmly. "We also have evidence of the real meeting, recorded by federal agents." The judge allowed both sides to present. Karen's footage showed what looked like me exchanging envelopes. But Mitchell's evidence, clear, verified audio, proved those men were Pinnacle executives caught confessing to bribery and conspiracy. Karen's face went pale. "Your Honor," Mitchell continued, "we called Danny Morrison to the stand. A nervous young man entered, the same technician from the contractor maintaining the crashed plane. He took a deep breath. Mrs. Whitaker paid me for information about military aircraft, $5,000 at first, then more. She said it was for community safety, but then she asked for maintenance schedules and emergency landing routes. She specifically mentioned Mr. Harlan's property." Karen jumped up. "He's lying! He's being paid to destroy me!" The judge slammed his gavel. "Sit down, Mrs. Whitaker." Mitchell revealed bank transfers from Karen's account to Danny's. The courtroom gasped. Did Mrs. Whitaker know the plane that crashed had maintenance issues? "Yes," Danny said quietly. "I told her about fuel system problems 2 weeks before it happened." She seemed excited, more whispers. Karen clutched the table, trembling. Then Mitchell presented the knockout blow. A laptop seized from a storage unit rented under the HOA's name. Recovered files showed emails between Karen and Pinnacle executives, payment spreadsheets, and a document titled Contingency Plans. It outlined tactics to force me off my land, environmental contamination, legal harassment, fake reports, even public defamation. The file was dated 2 weeks before the crash. Karen's lawyer objected, claiming illegal search, but Mitchell countered, the unit was rented with HOA funds. "The board authorized our search," the judge nodded. "Objection overruled," Karen broke down. "You don't understand. I was protecting our neighborhood. That property was dangerous." Even her staunchest supporters turned away. When the recess ended, Mitchell called Major Harrison to the stand. "Our investigation found that Mrs. Whitaker's actions compromised national security," she said. "Information she gathered could have been used by hostile actors. She may not have intended espionage, but her greed created a serious vulnerability." Karen's face crumpled. The once perfect queen of the HOA looked old and broken. She took the stand against her lawyer's advice, tears streaking her face. "I only wanted to protect my community," she whispered. Mitchell's cross-examination was merciless. "By accepting bribes? By faking contamination? By selling military data?" Karen's voice cracked. They told me no one would get hurt, but the jury didn't buy it. After 3 hours, they returned with guilty verdicts on all counts: fraud, conspiracy, bribery, interference, and attempted espionage. The judge's words echoed through the chamber. Karen Whitaker, you are sentenced to 25 years in federal prison and fined $150,000 for your crimes against both your neighbors and your country. Karen collapsed into her chair. As bailiffs led her away, she turned toward me, eyes full of hate but voice hollow. This isn't over, Harland. I didn't answer. It was over. Outside, cameras flashed as reporters shouted questions. I said only one thing: let justice speak for itself. Weeks later, Pinnacle's executives were indicted. The contractor lost its military contract. The HOA held new elections. Janet Williams became president, promising transparency. My reputation slowly healed. Customers returned, some embarrassed, some apologetic. We should have trusted you, Tom, Mrs. Patterson said, near tears. The military honored me with a civilian commendation for helping expose the corruption. Major Harrison shook my hand. Your persistence protected lives, Mr. Harland. Thank you. I looked at the now cleared field where the plane had crashed. Grass was growing again. Karen's house went up for sale. A moving truck came in the night. No one waved goodbye. Her power vanished like dust in the wind. Months passed. The community blossomed. Children played freely again. Doors were painted colors other than beige. And the HOA meetings finally discussed road maintenance instead of lawn lengths. One morning, while cleaning my garage, I found a small metal sign tucked behind boxes. It read, "You won, Tom," in Karen's handwriting. I stared at it, then tossed it in the trash. 6 months later, the spot where the plane had crashed became a community garden. Neighbors worked side by side planting vegetables. The air smelled of earth, not fear. At the 1-year anniversary of the crash, I hosted a barbecue. Everyone came: Rusty, Mike, Janet, Major Harrison, even Patricia Mitchell. We set tables right where the C-130 had fallen. Mitchell smiled. Your case inspired state reforms. The Whitaker case is now taught in law schools as an example of HOA corruption, I laughed. Didn't expect my ranch to become a case study. Later, Mike showed me a text from a contact. Karen's doing laundry duty in prison. Complains about the detergent. I couldn't help but grin. The woman who once obsessed over appearances now washed uniforms for a living. As the sun dipped below the horizon, neighbors lingered by the fire, laughing, finally free. When everyone left, I sat alone on the porch with a beer. A C-130 roared overhead on a training flight. I raised the bottle toward the sky. Don't even think about landing here again, I said with a chuckle. For the first time in a long while, peace settled over the ranch. Karen had built her kingdom on greed and fear, but it collapsed under the weight of her lies. Justice had taken time, but it had come. The scars on my land had healed, and so had the ones in our community. The queen of the HOA was gone for good, her empire reduced to a cautionary tale. And as I watched the last plane fade into the distance, I smiled to myself. Sometimes the good guys really do win,